Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this video I'm doing a troll game on the map Super Bridgehead. I'm starting in the top right position, playing as the Allies. The rules for this troll game are no tanks, which means I'm not going to be able to build any light or medium tanks. And what I'm going to do at the start is I'm going to go for an engineer rush. So you can see there from my barracks I've just producing 5 engineers straight away, and I'm just using the engineers for a little bit of scouting around my base first of all, because I want to get just a bit of vision, especially for the ore patch above my base, because that's what I want to build to after I built this first ore refinery. So let's get that ore refinery down, and now we're going to go for a war factory. What I should have actually done is gone for an ore silo, because there are some gems on that patch, but that was just a little bit of a misplay from me, and I think I will build that ore silo a bit later. So using those engineers to get to that top ore patch, just so I can see where it is, and so I can build towards it appropriately. And once I've built my war factory, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my APC, and that's just a people carrier to get my engineers to the enemy's base. And after we've built the APC, we're going to build a couple of ore trucks and then start getting the rangers out of the war factory. Now I'm sort of like in the perfect position to do an engineer rush, because the disadvantage of doing an engineer rush, I guess, is that by the time the engineer rush is pulled off, the other team are always going to have a war factory up, because I need to get a war factory before I can actually do the engineer rush. And also the other team are then going to probably have tanks by the time I get to the base, so they can always counter me. But because I'm right at the back here, it gives me the ideal position. And we see Green there, he's actually moved his MCV, and now he's in one of our teammates' starting positions alongside him, which isn't great because I have to share resources. Now this next part, I do not know what on earth happened. You can see I'm commanding my APC to go to a location, and my APC just randomly decides to drop off my engineers and run away. And then some dogs come up from our opponent's team, they just walk past, do absolutely nothing, and then I get my engineers back and start uploading them into the APC. So that was just the weirdest thing ever. And now what we see is the dogs start coming back, and my APC starts attacking them. The dogs get a bit closer, but then the dogs start to run away again. So then I just go to the base. I mean, I do not know what on earth happened there. It was very, very weird. So recommencing with our engineer rush, what we want to do is we want to find the MCV of our opponent, because if we do that, we'll stop them from building any further structures. And our IPC taking some damage off those rocket men, and we go further into the base, and then here we get zapped, and then unfortunately some of our engineers get taken out. We try and put them into a ore refinery. Unfortunately we're one short, otherwise we would have been able to capture that. Earlier when the APC dropped off the engineers, I have no clue what happened. I don't know if there's a hotkey or something, because when I looked at the replay, there was no sign of me clicking on the APC to drop off the engineers, and they just seemed to drop off, and then the APC just seemed to go off to where I'd commanded it to go. So I don't know what on earth happened there. I don't know if there's a hotkey I don't know about, which I could have clicked accidentally. That's the only thing I can think. But now I've got some rangers out, I'm starting to have a look where I'm going to attack and where to get those rangers to. And we can see that yellow is bringing some infantry up to red's base, and red's also got some infantry there also, but the rangers will do quite well against the infantry, so I'll send them for a bit of protection right at this moment. And it's a bit late to be sending your infantry in, because we're quite far into the game. All teams are going to have tanks by this point. Unless, of course, you're doing what I'm doing. Now we can see yellow starting to bring in the light tanks. Now the light tanks are probably the weakest of the tanks. They do have low hit points and low armour, so we'll have to see what can our rangers do against them. We've got more rangers than they do light tanks, and we'll see how they fare. I'm just getting this large power plant down and getting another war factory out, and now we've got a light tank rangers battle going on, and my rangers taking out those light tanks slowly but surely. You can see that HP dropping, and some of those tanks are being taken out. I've just got a lot more rangers than my opponent has tanks, which is making it very difficult. And now red coming in with a medium tank, and yellow deciding to retreat for the time being. And what I can see is cyan is bringing some heavy tanks in to my allies' base. And now I've got those MCVs out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and expand to the left, because there is some space there where green left at the start, where he moved his MCV from. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to use the yaw in that position, and just so I can build more ranges and just get a good mass out there. I'm now going to be building a radar dome, which is going to be quite useful in this type of game, because I'm going to want to know what's happening in different parts of the map and where best it is to send my ranges to. Nothing too much has changed on the map so far. All players seem to be coping in the starting positions. We can see that green and orange having a little skirmish there. And what we could see behind green is that green had some turrets, and cyan also had a Tesla coil in that position. So even if orange does manage to break through, he is going to be met with base defences. And it was the same if green gets through orange, he's going to be met with a Tesla coil. And now I'm just trying to get that range of mass set up. I also now have my MCV at the left side of the map, and now we see green and orange going for another fight. It doesn't look like orange has a number of tanks though to pose any real threat to green. And I think what orange is trying to do is he's trying to bait green forward so that green runs into those Tesla coils, and as we know, Tesla coils are very, very strong against light tanks. And now I've just got my first ore refinery on the left side of the map, making use of that ore patch just to give me a bit more funds, because you can see I'm quite low. But yellow coming in now with a light tank attack on red, and I'm defending with my rangers. Cyan is bringing in his heavy tanks and missile launchers, and red has his heavy tanks. And now we're pushing that light tank mass back. He's decided better of it. He knows he can't do anything against the forces we've got there. And also Cyan bringing an MCV along, so I think he's making his intention clear that he's planning on setting up another base on this part of the map. But now we see yellow going up the right side. He's sort of gone around our tanks, and now he's going up to the top. We have to see, where is he going to go? Is he going to circle around the back of red's base, or is he going to go to my base? We don't know yet, and we'll just have to wait and see. But my rangers are following those tanks, trying to go up. But we see yellow is actually going round to the back of red's base, and what is he going to go for? It looks like he might be going for the MCV, and he does. So there's a few light tanks there. We need to defend as much as possible here. Red with his heavy tanks, and me with my rangers, and we'll try to take them out. But that MCV's low, he needs to repair it, and it's not being repaired. I don't know if he's got the yaw to do it, and that MCV may have gone down there. Now we're having a look back at our base. We're going to build some more MCVs just to increase our building speed of structures even more. I need to make a decision. Am I going to take my ranger mass down the left side or the right side of the map? Now the left side did seem quite well defended with orange, although I could have gone round the back, but because my rangers are already on the right side of the map, I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to try and do an attack on purple and see how that works out. We can see that Cyan have built a base there, so we want to make sure that they stay in that strong position. I can see that purple hasn't actually used much of the orc patch, so they probably don't have that big of a base. So now my rangers coming down. Let's see what we can do against them. Now purple is a Soviet player, so they could have some Tesla coils to contend with, and rangers obviously get annihilated quite easily by Tesla coils, but when you have loads and loads of them, they're not so bad. Now we're getting them down here. We're going to go for the attack on that ore truck. It doesn't look like he has many ore trucks at all, so that might be one of his only ones. And now getting those MCVs deployed, so I have my increased building speed. I'm also getting a tech centre for satellites, but I've almost got all the map uncovered anyway now. And Tesla coils are there for purple. We'll try to take out that war factory as we go around that, and we're going to take out the power plants next, because if we take out the power, he's not going to be able to use those Tesla coils. And you can see those Tesla coils switching off. We saw him building a Tesla coil just before we went in, and we're going to go for all the large power plants and really get him low on power. And then after we take out that power plant, what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and take out the construction yard. I'm just deploying some buildings while my rangers are in purple's base. Now we're going to take out that construction yard. It's going down to low HP, and it is going to be taken out. Next we're going to go for the flame tower, because that's not affected by the power. It still fires no matter how low the opponent is on power. So that flame tower is now out. We take out another power plant, just make sure that those Tesla coils are not going to be able to ever work again and take out any more tanks. And now they've only got one small power plant left, we can also do some damage to those Tesla coils, take out those oil refineries, and purple is basically out of the game. But what I'm looking at now is yellow's base, and yellow's base seems to be quite undefended, although he does have some tanks going towards my base, so I do need to build some turrets for defence, as the light tanks are coming in, and I haven't got much to defend with right at the moment at my base. All my tanks are at the south side of the map, going towards yellow's base. And yellow's gone past my first outer base and gone up to my base further at the back, which doesn't have as many turrets. Now I'm having a little bit of a tough time placing those turrets because I have been quite low on ore, and that construction yard looks like it's going to be taken out, but green providing a little bit of support there to help take out those light tanks. Now my rangers in yellow's base, yellow has nothing to defend in his base, so it looks like I'm going to be able to take out those buildings. And I'm just putting some more buildings in that base there because I want to keep some buildings there so I can continue to build oil refineries, because I'm going to have to probably replace the ones that have been lost. And now, even if we take yellow's base out though, because it's destroy all, it's not going to destroy all of yellow's tanks, as they're still going to be on the map. But those buildings are going to go down, and it means that yellow is no longer going to be able to produce any more tanks. So what he's got left is what he's going to have to use for the rest of the game. But orange coming down now with the heavy tanks. It's going to be heavy tanks versus the ranger mass. Now heavy tanks have much more armour than allied tanks, and they also do a large amount of damage. So this is going to be a very tough battle for my rangers. We're going to see how do they do against heavy tanks, and green managing to take out most of those yellow tanks there. And I've got some more defences down, some turrets that do a little bit of damage against tanks. But now the rangers against the heavy tanks. Now of course I've got more rangers, but those heavy tanks are quite difficult to destroy, and we can see some of those HPs going down very, very slowly, and we're able to take out, it appears, some of those tanks. But the heavy tanks do seem to be getting the better of me because they just take so long to destroy. And now we can see green with a decent number of light tanks there, taking them further down the map. But unfortunately these rangers are going to be taken out, and we might need to switch up our strategy a little against the Soviet players, because we've got blue and orange left, and they're both Soviets, so they're going to have good numbers of heavy tanks. And as we've seen, my rangers don't do great, so we're going to go for the Tanya play instead. Having those multiple MCVs at the moment is really benefiting me, because it's going to allow me to expand forward really, really quickly. And I'm just going to get a few barracks out so I can produce some of those Tanyas. My economy seems to have recovered a little bit, but obviously Tanyas are very expensive, so I'm going to be sure that it's going to go down very, very quickly again. And now I'm just getting another ore refinery out just to get it on top of that ore patch to the left there. You can see I've already got 2 ore trucks there collecting from it, and we'll just get another ore refinery placed down. And now I'm going to get some pillboxes down, and those pillboxes are just to stop the opponents from mining there as well. You can see orange bringing ore trucks there, and our pillboxes getting a few shots at them. Now I'm expanding further down, getting more barracks out. That's going to increase my Tanya building speed. I'm just redistributing where those Tanyas are being produced from, and the only unfortunate thing about these Tanyas is they don't do too well when base defences are involved. Tesla coils can obviously take them out quite easily. They also don't do very well if there's flame towers as well, which are the 2 Soviet structures, but they don't do that well against Allied structures. Maybe against turrets to stand a bit better chance. And now we're bringing those Tanyas down, see if we can get behind the base where there's less defences. And those Tanyas going down now. We can see there's some infantry there, there's some tanks there. Now the tanks firing on the Tanyas aren't too bad, it's the infantry I do need to be more careful of. Of course the tanks can squash the Tanyas, so I do have to be careful of that also, but I need to take out the infantry because they do considerable amounts of damage if I get too close to them. But as you can see, the Tanyas can one-shot those infantry, and now I'm trying to get them through the base, and the orange tanks firing on those Tanyas, and it looks like I'm a bit stuck here, and my Tanyas may get taken out. It doesn't look like I can do too much, and yeah, you can see those Tanyas dying there. Now we're getting that ore refinery placed and using that ore patch further down the map, so we're getting more map control, which is really important because the more resources we get, the more we can build. We've seen the Tanya struggle to get through on foot, so what we're going to do now is we're going to build a war factory, get an APC and send them through that way, and hopefully get to the back of the base and destroy some buildings. So we're just waiting for that war factory to be produced. You can see we're quite low on ore now, and that's to do with those Tanyas costing quite a lot to produce. But I have got a lot of Tanyas there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple in that APC in case it gets taken out. I don't want to lose a big mass of Tanyas, so we're just going to send 2 at first, and we're building more APCs, so we're going to be able to send follow-ups depending on how well this attack goes. So now my APC going in, although those heavy tanks seem to be going away from that spot, but my APC is going to get through there no problem. We do have some blue infantry there, but I can see the back of Orange's base, and I think that Cyan has got some tanks at the back of there, and that's why Orange has had to move down. And now I'm having a bit of a look here. We have satellites, and can see that Orange has got 2 construction yards, and now the question is that second construction yard too close to that Tesla column? Am I going to be able to get it? I'm going to have a go, because if I can take out those construction yards, then Orange can't build any more buildings. So we've got one Tanya. We're going to see, is he going to make it to that second construction yard, or is he going to get zapped by that Tesla coil? And it looks like it's just going to be okay. Now Orange can no longer produce any structures. He's lost his war factory, so he can't produce tanks, so he's basically out of the game. We are taking out these remaining buildings, but that's not going to really matter too much because it is on destroy all. So even if we take out these buildings, he's still going to have those few tanks and infantry left. And as we can see, it's pretty much over. Orange has got no base left. Blue has a base, but we've got 4 teams, and everyone seems to be okay so far. So it looks like this game is pretty much over. Green are in his base, and it was just those attacks managing to go around the back, take out those 2 players early on. I think Yellow had got attacked before I got to the base, because I did notice there was like a bit of a destroyed building next to their buildings, and there was no construction yard there. So I do think another player had possibly done a light tank attack earlier on in the game, and Blue tapping out to say good game. And we can see those Cyan heavy tanks coming in now. Cyan, of course, building that extra base on the right side of the map. A good idea, since Green decided to share his starting position, so Cyan would have had less resources at the start of that game. And now we're just taking out the remaining ore trucks of Orange, who no longer has any units left, and now he decides to quit the game. So that's good game. And if we look at the stats, what we can see is that I'm actually top of the stats by using Rangers and doing mass Tanyas. So if there's any Ranger players out there, you can do it in team games. And I just thought what I'd do is I'd just show you the start of the next game. Now, Green says, oh my god, pink here. All I was doing was getting my MCV out of the way because I was in a position where I could get sandwiched by both players by infantry rushes at the start. So I wanted to get my MCV to a safe place. But this was the game directly after the game I've just shown, and what actually happens is the team says pink's good. So there you go. If you use Rangers and Tanya's right, apparently you can be accepted by the Command and Conquer community, or part of it, as being a good play. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.